Thunder tore the heavens apart as the world below shimmered in gold and ruin. Aiden fell through the storm, his wings ablaze, feathers scattering like burning snow. He heard Seraphina's cry from the mortal plane, a single word of love swallowed by the wind. He wanted to reach her, but light and gravity betrayed him. His pulse echoed louder than the thunder. Each heartbeat felt like glass cracking beneath divine law. Lucien's voice whispered, "You were never meant to love." The words sank deeper than any wound. Flames licked his skin, yet the ache in his heart burned hotter. Below, the ocean opened like a mouth ready to consume him. He spread his wings one last time, but they shattered into light. "Forgive me," Aiden said, tasting ash and rain. Then everything turned silent, too silent. A shimmer of white descended beside him, an unfamiliar light rising from below. Was it salvation, or another trap waiting to claim his fall? The ocean spit him out like something unholy. Aiden gasped on the shore, salt and blood coating his lips. His wings lay broken beside him, useless relics of pride. He heard whispers in the wind, voices of angels cursing his name. Seraphina's image flickered in his mind, her tearful face, her promise. The sand beneath him glowed faintly with divine residue. He wanted to rise, but each muscle screamed rebellion. Elder Caleb's warning echoed. "To love a mortal is to tear heaven's veil," Aiden said. "Then let heaven bleed." The tide pulled his shattered feathers into the sea. The stars above blinked like watchful eyes. Something moved in the mist. A figure cloaked, watching. He tried to speak, but the air grew colder. Could this be redemption, or the first hunter sent to end him? Seraphina woke, drenched in rain and guilt. The vision of fire in the sky haunted her. She could still feel the echo of Aiden's voice inside her chest, like a heartbeat not her own. She ran barefoot through the forest, mud pulling at her dress. Every drop of rain seemed to whisper his name. At the river's edge, she saw a single feather glowing faintly. She held it close, warmth flooding her palm. "You're alive," she whispered. The forest went silent, even the wind listening. A faint shimmer crossed the water, forming wings in reflection. Hope warred with fear inside her chest. If he lived, heaven would hunt him. If he died, her soul would break. She pressed the feather to her lips and looked to the stormy horizon. Was love worth defying the gods? Mist drifted like memory along the coast as Seraphina searched the rocks. The air smelled of salt and ashes. Then she saw him, Aiden, collapsed against a jagged stone, wings torn but eyes still burning with life. Her breath caught. She touched his face, trembling between joy and fear. Aiden said, "You shouldn't have come." His voice cracked like thunder after silence. "They'll find you," she smiled through tears. "Then let them find us together." The wind howled, carrying distant hymns of pursuit. Every heartbeat between them felt stolen from eternity. He tried to stand. Pain folded him in half. Their fingers met, warm and cold, mortal and divine. Somewhere far above, the clouds churned crimson. The first trumpet sounded across the sky. Was it the call of angels, or the warning of war? Night fell heavy, wrapping the broken coast in violet gloom. Aiden rested against driftwood, breathing shallowly. Seraphina lit a small fire from fallen branches, its glow trembling against his shattered wings. "They will come for you," she whispered. Aiden said, "Then I'll face them." His gaze softened as he watched her hands shaking. He remembered heaven's light, cold, perfect, distant. Hand realized he had never felt warmth until now. Wind hissed through the cliffs, scattering embers like dying stars. "If I fall again," he murmured. "Promise you'll run." She shook her head. "No more running." Above them, a faint halo flickered in the storm clouds. dissolving into darkness. Somewhere unseen, Lucien smiled. The fire crackled louder, as if listening. Would love burn brighter than the wrath descending from the skies? The forest was no longer silent. Hounds of light howled through the mist, hunting the fallen. Aiden dragged his injured wing against the mud, each step leaving streaks of silver blood. Seraphina clung to his arm, breath shallow, eyes wide. "They're close," she said, her voice trembling. "Run!" Aiden answered, his tone sharp, but laced with fear. The glow behind them pulsed brighter, divine soldiers descending like burning stars. Branches cracked. Air hissed with energy. He could feel Lucien's power in the wind, cold and precise. "He sent them," Aiden whispered. His hand tightened around Seraphina's. The world blurred as thunder shook the ground. They leapt into a ravine, water crashing beneath. Pain seared his shoulder, light grazing his skin. The scream that followed wasn't his, it was hers. And in that cry, he knew the chase had only begun. They found shelter in an abandoned chapel at dawn. The air smelled of dust and forgotten prayers. Aiden collapsed beside the altar, his breath uneven. Seraphina tore part of her dress to bind his wound. "Why are they hunting you?" she asked softly. He looked away. "Because I chose you over eternity." The silence that followed was heavier than stone. Candlelight flickered against crack-stained glass, painting them in fractured colors. She pressed her forehead to his. "Then we'll keep choosing." Outside, thunder rolled like distant drums. Aiden's fingers brushed the mark glowing faintly on her wrist. "That bond will expose you," he murmured. She smiled faintly. "Then let them see." The candle went out, smoke curling into the air. A whisper of warning from heaven. Far above, Lucien stood within a cathedral of flame. His eyes reflected storms. "He defies heaven," he said, voice calm but venomous. Around him, armored seraphs bowed, their wings blackened from his influence. He raised one hand, conjuring a sphere of golden fire. "Find them. Bring me the mortal alive." His words rippled through the void. Aiden shuddered miles away, sensing the command. Seraphina asked, "What is it?" He replied. A promise of pain, lightning streaked across the sky, answering Lucien's call. The forest bent under unseen power. In the distance, the sound of cracking wings echoed. Aiden stared upward, jaw tightening. He's coming himself. The air thickened with dread. Could love stand against a god's wrath? Night fell again when Elder Caleb found them. His cloak shimmered faintly with runes of fading light. Aiden stared in disbelief. "You should have stayed hidden," Caleb said, voice like gravel. Seraphina stepped forward. "Help us, please." The old man studied her, sorrow flickering in his eyes. "You carry the mark. It binds heaven and earth. You were never meant to bear it," she whispered. "Then take it away." Caleb shook his head. "Love gave it to you. Only sacrifice can break it." Aiden clenched his fists, anger breaking through fatigue. "Then I'll pay the price." Caleb's gaze hardened. "Every choice has a cost, my son." The wind sighed through the chapel ruins, carrying faint hymns. The mentor's warning hung between them like a prophecy waiting to break. Before dawn, the chapel trembled. Aiden stood outside, wings spread though every feather ached. The first light touched the horizon. "We can't keep running," he said. Seraphina approached, holding his hand. "Then what do we do?" He looked toward the mountains beyond the forest. "There's a sanctuary, Caleb's last refuge. If we reach it, we'll find truth or death." The air crackled as distant wings thundered closer. Caleb's voice echoed behind them. "Choose wisely. The path you take decides not just your fate, but heaven's." Aiden faced Seraphina, eyes steady. "Then let's rewrite heaven." They stepped into the light, shadows chasing them. The sky broke into streaks of crimson and gold, the color of love defying divine law. Morning sunlight broke through the clouds, soft and deceptive. Aiden and Seraphina reached a quiet village by the valley. For a moment, peace felt possible. Children laughed in the distance, and the air smelled of baked bread and smoke. A hooded traveler approached them, smiling warmly. "You look lost," he said. His voice carried calm, too practiced, too kind. Seraphina's gaze softened. Aiden nodded warily. "We need shelter." The traveler gestured toward an inn hidden by vines. "You'll find safety there." His eyes lingered on Aiden's bandaged wings, glinting with curiosity. The angel's chest tightened. Something in that smile felt wrong, like a blade hidden behind kindness. As the man turned away, the faint shimmer of feathers flickered beneath his cloak. Aiden's pulse quickened. Peace, it seemed, had teeth. Inside the inn, fire crackled low, and shadows danced on stone walls. Naira poured them water, hands steady yet eyes too alert. "You've traveled far," he said. Seraphina smiled faintly. "We're looking for a sanctuary." Naira's lips curved. "I know many." Aiden studied him, sensing something strange beneath his calm. Still, he relaxed as warmth seeped into his bones. For the first time in days, they laughed softly. Seraphina reached for Aiden's hand beneath the table. He whispered, "Maybe peace isn't a lie after all." Naira's gaze flicked to their joined hands. His expression faltered for a heartbeat. "Rest," he said. "You'll need strength for what's ahead." The fire dimmed suddenly, smoke curling into a shape almost wing-like. Seraphina blinked. Was it the smoke? Or a warning? Night deepened, and the inn grew silent. Naira led Aiden to the back hall. "You carry pain that should have broken you," Naira said. His tone was strange, admiring, almost tender. Aiden frowned. "Why help us?" Naira met his gaze. "Because I was like you once." He opened his palm, revealing a scar glowing faint blue. "Heaven discarded me too." The confession hung heavy. "Then why stay hidden?" Aiden asked. Naira's smile thinned. "Because I learned truth. Love isn't salvation, it's a chain." The air thickened, tension sharp as glass. "You sound like Lucien," Aiden whispered. Naira's eyes flickered silver. "Perhaps Lucien isn't wrong." A chill rippled down Aiden's spine. For the first time, he doubted not heaven, but his heart. The storm came without warning. Wind shattered the inn's windows as celestial soldiers descended. Naira's form shimmered, his disguise dissolving into a creature of smoke and wings. Seraphina screamed as light filled the room. "You led them here," Aiden shouted. Naira's voice broke like thunder. "They would have found you anyway." Swords of light clashed, glass exploded, feathers burned. Aiden struck Naira down, rage and heartbreak colliding. Seraphina cried out, reaching for him, but a blast from above hurled her through the doorway. Lucien's shadow emerged in the lightning's glare. "You've served your purpose, shapeshifter," he said coldly. Naira's last breath was regret. Aiden fell to his knees, wings torn anew. "No," he whispered. "Not her." But Seraphina was gone. Rain washed blood and ash from the ruins. Aiden knelt where Seraphina had vanished, her pendant lying in the mud. The world seemed silent except for the soft crack of dying fire. Caleb's voice echoed in memory. "Trust will destroy you." He closed his hand around the pendant until it cut his skin. "I should have known," he whispered. The mark on his chest pulsed, reacting to her absence. A flicker of light formed before him, Lucien's voice carrying through it. "She's alive," it said. "But she's mine now." Aiden looked up, eyes burning with fury. The rain turned to steam against his skin. "Then heaven will burn," he said. Lightning flashed behind him, framing his silhouette like a vow carved in storm. The rain had stopped, leaving the earth trembling beneath silver fog. Aiden stood alone in the ruins where the inn once burned. The silence was suffocating. Every broken wall whispered her name. The pendant in his hand glowed faintly, pulsing with her heartbeat, or what remained of it. He breathed in the ash, tasting regret. "Why her?" he muttered. His wings hung limp, wet feathers glistening in dawn light. For the first time, there was no rage, only emptiness. A memory stirred. Caleb's warning, Lucien's smirk, Naira's last words. Each sound returned like ghosts in a storm. Then beneath the rubble he saw markings carved in divine script. His name paired with Seraphinus. Not accident, not fate, a binding. "We were chosen," he whispered, realization striking like thunder. But by whom? The carving shimmered, pulling him into memory. Voices echoed from the past. Heaven's halls, golden and cold. Caleb's voice had once pleaded with the council. "He is not ready." Then Lucien's laughter cut through light. "Love will teach him obedience." Aiden saw himself kneeling, halo unbroken, eyes bright with innocence. Seraphinus' face appeared in a vision, chosen before birth, marked for him. The scent of sanctum air mixed with smoke of burning incense. "They made us pawns," he whispered, watching his younger self accept a mission to guard the mortal. Guard, not love. He staggered back, trembling. His love had been planned, orchestrated, blessed only to be broken. The whisper of wings filled his ears. "Truth frees," Caleb once said. Now it only shattered. Aiden found Caleb standing among old gravestones. The mentor's cloak rippled in wind, heavy with judgment. "You knew," Aiden said. Caleb's silence was confession enough. "You let them use her." The old man's voice cracked. "I tried to protect you both." By lying? Aiden's wings flared, sparks raining around him. Caleb met his eyes, weary but unflinching. "If you'd known the truth, you would have defied heaven sooner." The angel's hands trembled. "I already did." Thunder rolled distant, echoing grief. Caleb stepped closer. "You were meant to fall. Love wasn't your sin. It was your purpose." Aiden froze, heart hammering. "Then why destroy it?" Caleb's gaze fell. "Because heaven fears what love creates." The truth hit harder than any blade. Lucien appeared behind the veil of mist, his steps silent as regret. "So the truth surfaces," he said calmly. Aiden turned, feathers quivering. "You planned this." Lucien's smile was almost kind. "I gave you what heaven never could. Choice? You murdered her." Aiden shouted. Lucien shook his head. "I freed her from their design. Do you not see? You were both created to break heaven's chain. I only accelerated destiny." The words sliced deeper than any wound. Lucien's eyes gleamed like molten glass. "They made you to love so they could measure its limits. But you," he gestured toward Aiden's trembling hand, "proved love has none." Silence fell heavy, broken only by the rustle of feathers. "Then why destroy it?" Aiden whispered. Lucien smiled. "Because perfection demands sacrifice." The fog lifted slowly, revealing light breaking through storm clouds. Aiden stood still, eyes reflecting both rage and peace. "So this was the truth all along," he said softly. The pendant pulsed once, then faded. He looked toward the heavens, no longer in prayer but defiance. "I am no one's weapon." His wings spread wide, mended by resolve rather than grace. Each feather caught the dawn, glowing with warmth instead of judgment. He whispered, "Seraphina, if love was a lie, then let my truth burn brighter." The wind roared, scattering ash like stars. In that silence, something within him awoke. not vengeance but clarity. Heaven and hell had played their game, now it was his turn. The fallen would rise not for redemption but for choice. The world held its breath. Lightning crawled across a bruised sky as Aiden stood upon the shattered cliff. Every gust carried the taste of war. Ozone, smoke, and ash. His pulse echoed like drums beneath his ribs. Below, the valley burned in divine fire. The air trembled with Lucien's arrival. Feathers drifted from the heavens, falling like dying stars. "It ends tonight," Aiden whispered. His grip tightened around Seraphina's pendant. The clouds parted, revealing Lucien descending, wings of darkness stretching wide. Their eyes met across the storm, silence louder than thunder. Aiden's wings flared, white against the void. Every sound fell away, just breath, wind, and fate colliding. "You took everything," Aiden said. Lucien's smirk answered, "I only revealed what was already broken." Lightning struck between them. Then stillness, the last moment before the storm unleashed. Lucien's blade met Aiden's in a burst of light that shattered stone. The ground quaked. Aiden's voice rose over the roar. "You turned heaven into a prison." Lucien parried, sparks raining between them. "And you turned love into rebellion." Wings clashed, slicing through air. Feathers burned to ash mid-flight. The sky bled gold and red, storm clouds twisting into a vortex. "You fear what you can't control," Aiden shouted. Lucien's eyes burned brighter. "Control is survival." Lightning wrapped around them, binding shadow to light. Each strike echoed like a heartbeat, heaven's own fury mirrored in their blows. Aiden's chest heaved. "Then I'll survive without chains," Lucien lunged, voice calm amid chaos. "You can't destroy what made you." Their swords locked, glowing, trembling, both refusing to yield. Through the chaos, Elder Caleb appeared, his robes torn, runes flickering. "Stop," he cried, stepping between them. Aiden froze, breath ragged. Lucien sneered. "The teacher returns to die with his lesson." Lightning split the ground, and Caleb raised his hands, summoning light that wrapped around both warriors. "Enough!" His voice echoed through storm and soul. The energy cracked his form, light leaking from his eyes. "If fate demands sacrifice, let it be mine!" Aiden shouted. "No!" But it was too late. Caleb smiled faintly. "Now you're free." His body dissolved into pure radiance, exploding upward like dawn. Silence fell as feathers rained. Aiden's wings dimmed, eyes burning with grief. Lucien lowered his sword, momentarily shaken. The old man's voice lingered in the wind. "Love without loss is not love." Aiden rose from the dust, wings burning like twin suns. "No more gods," he said, his voice carried through the storm. Lucien steadied his blade, anger now quiet and cold. "Then be your own," they charged. Fire met lightning, heaven met hell. The world blurred into brilliance. Each blow was memory, each wound redemption. "You wanted freedom," Lucien growled, locking blades. "Then take it." He drove the sword toward Aiden's heart. Aiden caught it bare-handed, blood splattering gold. Freedom is love unchained. With one cry, he drove his own blade through Lucien's chest. Light erupted, swallowing everything. Their wings collided, one white, one black, merging into blinding silver. The thunder ceased. A single feather drifted between them, glowing like a final heartbeat before it dimmed. Silence returned like mercy. The storm broke apart, leaving rain soft as forgiveness. Aiden knelt where Lucien's body had turned to dust. His sword lay beside him, glowing faintly before fading. He looked toward the horizon. No angels, no chains, just sky. The air smelled of ash and renewal. "It's done," he whispered. Seraphina's pendant glimmered once as if answering. The clouds parted, light spilling through like grace reborn. Aiden stood slowly, his wings now pale silver, neither holy nor fallen. He smiled faint. "This world doesn't need gods, it needs love." The wind carried his words upward, scattering feathers into endless blue. For the first time, heaven felt silent, not empty but listening. The fallen had become free. The battlefield lay still beneath pale morning light. Smoke drifted lazily through the ruins, curling like breath finally released. Aiden stood where heaven's fire had scorched the earth, his reflection faint in puddles of ash and rain. The air was quiet. No angels, no cries, only the whisper of wind moving through broken feathers. His sword rested at his feet, its glow gone. "So this is peace," he murmured, voice hoarse. Each breath carried the weight of what had burned away. Lucien, Caleb, Seraphina, himself. The sky, once violent, now seemed endless and indifferent. The silence was heavier than any war. He closed his eyes, feeling the ache of victory that cost too much. When he opened them, the light touched his scars like memory made gentle. He walked through the valley slowly, where ashes met grass again. Every step stirred ghosts of flame. The pendant at his neck pressed against his chest, a heartbeat long gone. He whispered, "You'd tell me this was worth it." His voice broke. The sound faded into the wind. Flashbacks flickered like candlelight. Seraphina's laughter in the forest, Caleb's lessons beneath starlight, Lucien's smirk before the fall. Guilt and grace tangled together, impossible to separate. The scent of rain carried distant hymns, heaven mourning or forgiving, he couldn't tell. Aiden knelt and placed his blade into the soil, leaving it there. "No more war," he said softly. The earth swallowed the words. For the first time, he felt something like quiet. Not forgiveness, but understanding. By the river, where the world shimmered silver, he saw her. Seraphina stood across the water, barefoot, pale against the light. Not alive, not gone, something between. "You kept your promise," she said, her voice carried on wind. Aiden froze, eyes wide. "I failed you," she shook her head. "You freed me." The river reflected their faces, rippling like fragile glass. He stepped forward, but the current rose, separating them. "Don't cross," she whispered. "You have to live." Time seemed to slow until even the wind dared not move. He smiled through tears. "Then wait for me in the light." She nodded once, fading like mist. The water calmed, leaving only his reflection, lonely, but no longer lost. Later, beneath an ancient tree, Aiden found something buried. Caleb's staff, cracked but still faintly glowing. He touched it, and a voice echoed within his mind. "Light is not what blinds, it's what reveals." Caleb's tone was calm, timeless. "You sought heaven, but found yourself." Aiden smiled faintly, the kind that hurt. He whispered, "You were right, old man." The wind stirred the branches above, scattering leaves like blessings. The glow from the staff dimmed slowly, fading into earth, as though returning home. "Thank you," Aiden said, looking to the horizon. The sky was clearer now, and the light no longer burned, it healed. A single tear slid down his cheek, catching the sun before disappearing. As dusk arrived, the sky painted itself in rose and amber. Aiden stood at the cliff's edge once more, looking out over the healed horizon. His armor was gone, only a simple white tunic remained. The wind tugged gently at his hair, carrying whispers of voices that once guided him. He lifted his hand, releasing the pendant. It floated upward, glowing faintly, then dissolving into starlight. "This is enough," he said quietly. "This is enough," he said quietly. His wings unfolded, lighter than they had ever been. He stepped forward, not to fly, but to walk into the world below. Each step echoed freedom, not exile. The sun dipped low, and his shadow merged with the light. Heaven was behind him now, but love at last was everywhere. The wind was gentle now, whispering across the open sky. Aiden sat beneath a tree on the hill where everything began. The grass moved softly, as if breathing. The world had grown quiet, healed by its own stillness. He closed his eyes and listened. No cries, no thunder, only life returning. "They're gone," he said, voice barely more than a breath. The memory of Seraphina's laughter lingered, faint but warm. A single feather drifted down, landing beside his hand. He smiled, eyes wet. For a moment he thought he heard her whisper, "You kept your heart." He looked toward the horizon, where light met sky, and the question echoed in his soul. Was it worth it? His silence was the answer. He stood, brushing dew from his sleeves, and began to walk. Each step left faint impressions in the grass, quickly erased by the wind. The world around him shimmered. Rivers clean, clouds thin as silk. "No more heavens to serve," he murmured. "Only this." The pendant's glow had faded, but its memory pulsed beneath his skin. He reached the edge of the hill, paused, and turned once more to the sky. "Thank you," he whispered. To her, to Caleb, to all who had shaped his fall. The air felt lighter, freer. Then he stepped forward, wings unfurling slightly, not to fly but to move on. The past dissolved like dust behind him. The horizon opened, wide, bright, forgiving. A gentle sound filled the air, a voice, distant yet clear. It was Caleb's voice, faint as echo through time. "Remember, Aiden, love was never your sin. It was your proof." His words wrapped around the wind, threading through light and shadow. Aiden stopped, listening as the tone faded into birdsong. The world seemed to breathe with him. He imagined Caleb's smile, Seraphina's touch, even Lucian's last glance. All part of him now. The past wasn't gone. It had become his story. "Then let it be told," he said quietly. The pendant shimmered faintly once more, catching a ray of light before dimming forever. In that fading glow lived every choice, every loss, every truth. Wings of betrayal now turned to grace. Time passed. Villages rebuilt, children laughed, skies stayed blue. The scars of war became stories whispered at firesides. Aiden watched from afar, unseen, guarding without command. He helped quietly. A lost traveler here, a wounded bird there. The world no longer needed angels, yet it seemed to remember them. Once a child looked up, smiling at a streak of light, and said, "He's watching." Aiden smiled too. Change had come, gentle and patient. The storm was only memory now. He sat by a stream, dipping his hands into cool water, watching ripples spread like new beginnings. The reflection that looked back wasn't fallen or divine. It was simply human, tired, whole, free. At sunset, Aiden stood on a ridge overlooking the world. His wings caught the light, glowing faintly like embers refusing to fade. The air smelled of rain and earth, alive, simple. He whispered, "She would have loved this sky." His hand brushed the air where her presence used to be. Then, with a quiet breath, he folded his wings and closed his eyes. The last light of the sun crossed his face, and for a heartbeat the world seemed to pause. His final thought lingered. Not prayer, not promise, but peace. The wind carried his words into eternity. Truth was never meant to be owned. The light dimmed. The sky, infinite and calm, held him in silence.